If I were to ask you, what does a homeless person look like, what would be the first image that pops into your head? A variety of definitions for the term homelessness are used in different situations, but generally, homelessness is defined as a person who lacks a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. The recession will force 1.5 million more people into homelessness over the next 2 years, according to estimates by the National Alliance to End Homelessness. In 2008, the U.S. Conference of Mayors cited a major increase in the number of homelessness in 19 out of the 25 cities surveyed. On average, cities report a 12% increase of homelessness since 2007. For families, the three most common cited causes of homelessness are lack of affordable housing, poverty, and unemployment, while for singles, it's substance abuse, lack of affordable housing, and mental illness. Veterans are more likely than other populations to be homeless. About 40% of homeless men are veterans, although veterans comprise only 34% of the general adult male population. On any given night, 200,000 veterans are homeless. Additionally, the homeless population is comprised of a variety of ethnicities.
The importance of voice is important in the real world like it is in the eyes of watching God. The homeless people don't have a voice because of embarrassment. As a teacher in a school said, they hide their problems. Many homeless people get a bad reputation because of the position they are forced into. The same teacher said that each name represents a story, who's going to be awesome someday. People all have their own stories, and that leads them to the place they are. You aren't bad people because you end up like this. The homeless person that are not put in these situations by their own choice. Many homeless people believe that they are destined for great things. This is a quotation from Anthony in the PBS program. I felt like a king my whole life, but to be a king means to first be a servant. Many people of these people are poor.
The biggest part of the American dream is the idea of being able to become more successful in society. While those that were shown in the video, like Rocky, Casey, and Anthony, are not necessarily living the dream, they are better off than they were originally.
Rocky started to work harder in school in order to get into college. At first he was denied, but once he sent in his new grades, he was accepted into Northeastern University. He showed what hard work allows someone to do. If he had not worked harder to bring his grades up, he would have never gotten into college. Casey worked hard in order to get a new place to stay. After getting kicked out of the Belfort house for curfew violations, she had to find a new place. She went to her mother's house but overdosed on drugs and alcohol while she was there. After being in a mental institution, she applied to programs that helped people like her find places to live. Luckily, one of these programs accepted her application and she was able to move into her new apartment with her roommate. Anthony worked hard in school in order to earn his GED and get a job. With his hard work, he was able to become much more successful. This idea is one of the most important parts of beginning to achieve the American dream, and they are on their way to living a better life.
Jonathan Kozel, who chose to shed light on the lives of urban youth homelessness, gives a plethora of stories about the issue of homelessness in his book, Fire in the Ashes, in which he shows the reader not only the variety of lives in homeless individuals, but additionally he follows his subjects into life after homelessness as well. Kozel takes the breadth of his analysis of these people beyond their given societal labels as simply homeless. If you're going to write about us, you've got to breathe the air we breathe. It's hard to believe that this compelling quote was stated to Kozel by a little girl. This child, named Pineapple, a kindergartner who attended an urban school, was forced to face deplorable conditions on a daily basis. Kozel found that the little girl epitomized the inherent issue that underlies the failure of many poverty-stricken kids to succeed at completing their education. They lack a consistent way to adequately do so. Children are thrown into unsanitary, unregulated schools where class sizes are large, educational resources are lacking, and teachers are quite variable, quitting frequently as they cannot stand the conditions of these facilities. Pineapple ended up working hard, earning the opportunity to attend a better school, and ultimately she was able to attain a university-level education and return to the deficient urban school community as a teacher to facilitate the education of kids who lived like she once had. But therein lies the issue Kozel stood to shed light on. Pineapple's success was the exception, not the rule. She was able to make connections that allowed her to pursue higher education, but the vast majority of underprivileged children won't get that opportunity regardless of how hard they work.
In an attempt to find their voice, some of these people took to writing poems.
9 years old, body cold, sold on the streets of Chicago. Whenever the money calls, I answer the lingering voice, not by choice, but by the will that has been instilled within me at 9 years old. 9 years old, hopping in and out of cars, ended up behind bars because I was charged with prostitution. I didn't understand what I was doing because my mind was clouded by my pimp's pollution. We needed money, and she said this is the solution. I pretended that this was a war and I was a part of the revolution. 9 years old, still cold, but bold enough to walk these streets. The pain in the feet, but the customers don't care because they pay for my meat. Paid time, scrapping and oozing dimes just so we can eat. Sometimes it felt as if I met the face of defeat. 9 years old. So long ago, I went from an amateur to a pro. I flow with the wind to and fro, but they don't know. They just go off of what they see, but they don't know me. 9 years old, my mother put me on the streets to provide for my family, not knowing it would become part of my mentality. No, she wishes she never created this monster that I have become. Now she sits home watching my son. Now I am 19 years old with a warm home, but still cold from these shadows of the past that still follow me from my 9 years old.
I am sorry, Mama. I never meant to hurt you, but tonight I'm cleaning out my closet because I finally got tired of the way you treat me, but never forgot all the ways you beat me. Now I'm leaving you before things get worse when the cold wind blows on you. You will feel no love from me from all of your evil deeds.
How many times have you heard of someone opting out of giving a homeless person money on the premise that the homeless individual will probably just spend it on drugs or alcohol? This issue is addressed through this quote from a representative of the National Homeless Organization. People who are homeless are not lazy, crazy drug addicts that can't be helped. I hate these stereotypes. I dare you to look at your circle of friends and tell me that you don't know a single person who is lazy, a person who may be a little off mentally, or a person who does not use drugs. We all have those people in our circles somewhere, so don't try and think you're so above a person who is homeless just because you're not the one begging for change. As for the crazy element of this label, while yes, mental illness is prevalent amongst the homeless population, flippantly making such an offensive generalization not only serves to strengthen society's misconception regarding the homeless, but additionally this derogatory label ridicules those individuals afflicted with mental illness for an inherent disability that they have no control over.